8,850 meters, the mountain has stirred the imagination and courage of man for centuries. Hundreds have died trying to climb to its summit, and now a city slicker with a borrowed sleeping bag but a lot of heart is about to attempt to trek to its third base camp. This is the Everest Podcast.
This is Everest Podcast, Episode 6. My name is Erick. I am your host for this series, and it is now T-minus 6 days to my original departure date for my Everest trip. For those of you who were listening before, as you know, I am currently, as of my last podcast, I had no idea whether I was actually going to go on this trip anymore, thanks to the Chinese government. But I'm very happy to announce to all of you listeners that the trip is on. I am going to Everest. I cannot wait. I am so glad that this whole hoopla around the restriction thing I was able to resolve. I'll give you the details just shortly. So here's the context for those of you who are just joining in. The Chinese government recently passed last week, only 4 or 5 days ago, a ruling that would restrict all tourists from entering the Tibet autonomous region, which is where I was headed, thereby throwing my entire travel itinerary out the window, thanks to the Chinese government. Thank you very much. What I have been able to do since then is actually reverse the itinerary, start in Kathmandu, end in Lhasa, and get a special Tibet permit to enter Lhasa from the Friendship Highway border, before the September 5th date, which was when the tourist travel ban would be lifted. We are pretty sure, 99% sure, that we'll be able to get this special permit thanks to the hard work of our tour operator. So it looks like our trip is a go. We will be going to Everest. We will be starting in Kathmandu, entering Tibet before the 5th with a special permit, doing the trek on Everest, and then continuing on to Lhasa. So this is great news. Of course, it came at a cost to make this trip happen. I did have to sacrifice all the air miles I put into my original flight itinerary into Asia, and then drop another $1,000 in cash to book all my new flights. I guess the only silver lining is that I actually got some great airfare on my new flights. To fly from here to Bangkok and then from Bangkok into Kathmandu is costing me just under $1,000. So that's good news, I guess. There is always a silver lining. But at the end of the day, I am happy to say the trip is on. Why did I do it? Why did I decide to drop the extra cash and make this happen? Well, at the end of the day, it comes down to a question of how often will I ever have a chance to do a trip like this? Once I settle down, I'm actually a student now in graduate school, but once I go back into the workforce, it's going to be hard to take off 3-4 weeks for a journey like this. And given how much time I've put into the gym and training for this trip, up until now, I don't see myself ever really doing that ever again. I've never really had the discipline of going to the gym every single day, and it takes something as significant as a trek to Everest to actually motivate me enough to go every day into the gym. I don't see myself having the the discipline of ever doing that again in my life. So this is the time. It's now. I've got to make this happen. And in the grand scheme of things, dropping another $1,000 and losing miles is chump change compared to the experience that I'll be able to get by being able to go to Everest. So it's good news all the way. I wish it didn't have to be like this, but so it is. We'll roll with the punches. I am on my way to Everest, and we're at now T-minus 6 days to departure. So stay tuned. The next podcast I will do will actually be from day one of the trek en route to Mount Everest. So stay tuned.
For more information on Erick's Everest trek, as well as photos from his trip, please visit his website at www.erick.com. www.everestpodcast.com.